Hey guys, Angelo Russo with Northern Paladins. I'm here with Tony also, Northern Paladins.
Hello.
We're talking today about Collector's Edition and how Tony got into this set that we have here. And ultimately, I'll turn it over to you, Tony.
Yeah, interesting. So I'm an old school player. I got into Magic back probably in the spring of '94. So it was the time of Revised and Legends, I think before the Dark came out. So through the years of early old school, I did a lot of collecting, I did a lot of playing, and then like a lot of people, my collection just sort of went in the closet for a number of years and kind of stayed there. I did go through a series of kind of a grading time in the mid 2000s where some of the power that I still did have, I went ahead and graded those via a PSA. And again, went through a bit of a community phase there in the mid 2000s, and then they went dormant in a closet for another decade. Kind of enter last year in the probably the fall time frame, I think, is when I came across some of the Facebook groups, and then I eventually ran into Joe Freshwater, who is the community organizer for Northern Paladins. And to my astonishment, the whole old school was a thing again, and it was something that really excited me, and I wanted to get into. And I started coming by Paladin home base here at Universe Games. But one of the things that I did notice is that we had a lot of players here that were playing either powered via some of the original ABU sets, or kind of one of the big things here was that a lot of the players were leveraging the CE sets, which had a bit of an easier entry point for people trying to get into old school. So, as you know, I had a lot of conversations with you, Angelo, over the course of a couple of months, kind of trying to figure out what my reentry strategy was going to be. Do I, take and crack open some of those cards that the power that I have to actually play with, or is there really another way I can get back into Magic and play some of the power? And I started, looking around eBay and some of the internet sites, looking for, okay, I'd like to get into some CE, see how much it costs, where can I get it? And I was really, I was leveraging you for a lot of the information around this, because you had explored this, and I always like to go to the people I consider experts or know a heck of a lot more than I do.
I do have a considerable CE collection, and I would say it was popularized by EC, is shorthand for Eternal Central. Mostly everybody in the old school community is familiar with them. And the idea that same art, same border is legal in that format. It's it's not sanctioned by Wizards of the Coast, not legal in like Vintage, for instance, but a group of guys guys and girls across the world who are playing this old style Magic using these types of cards.
Right. So, as I was looking around, the way the story goes is, I think, Angelo, you could see I was kind of struggling, and I saw a set out that I was thinking about buying, and who do I trust, and if it's sealed, can I trust that it's okay? And that's where you kind of said, well, I maybe have an extra set that I could part with, and we kind of got together, and really this set here that I was very appreciative that I got from somebody I could trust and I know does the homework, and that's what brings us here to this opening.
Yep, and this particular box I purchased from a gentleman directly, probably about 2017. It had its external seal on it, but I'm a trust and verify kind of guy. I knew I was going to play with these cards eventually at the time. That's why I opened this one, but then I didn't open the internal seals. I just put it away in a closet. And Tony was interested in something that hadn't been opened internally, so we have a perfect scenario here where we get to show it to everybody. I'm glad that I didn't at that time. I've acquired many more CE cards, and plenty that were out in the wild raw. So without further ado, let's pop it open.
Sure. So as we mentioned, the outer seal is broken, but the inner seals are still intact, and there are 6 packages, and I'll let you kind of talk about some of these.
Yeah, so the 6 internal packages are all organized identically in sequential order based on the way they were, cut and packaged in 1993. And I think it's the end of 93, December thereof, when I think these came. Might have been shipping in January, February of 94. I'm sure the internet correct me if I'm wrong, but it comes with all of the cards printed in beta, and then an additional 61 basic lands. Pack 1, you'll have a couple of pieces of power, Time Twister and Mox Jet. The rest of the cards that have power are in Pack 6. You'll have the rest of the Moxes and Lotus, although A-Call's somewhere mixed in there, and we'll find that when we pop these open, because I don't have that by memory.
Sure. Yeah, the extra lands was actually a bonus we discovered today in conversation. I didn't know I was actually getting those in the deal, so that was pretty cool to find out.
Yeah. And in terms of how many of these sets were printed, you can either look at the Collector's Edition run as 2 separate partial runs, the International Collector's Edition, which there are 5,000 of, and the Collector's Edition, which there are 9,000. Although Wizards had ordered 10,000, they were shorted about 10% from the printer, so the story goes. That puts it at roughly about 14,000 copies of each of the cards. Of course, basic lands are more, about 1 million copies of total basic lands inside of in these packs.
Right. What originally got you into CE, Angelo, and how did you
Absolutely
come across this?
For me, it was the road back into 93, 94 Magic, old school, would be EC. The Eternal Central rule set allowed it as legal. And I've owned sets of these over the years. I've been playing 25 years this April. And I had previously had them and used them in, let's say, Commander, like dual lands in Commander, or power pieces like Time Twister, because it's a format that people will either proxy or generally accept that, yeah, okay, we're not going to make you spend $2,500 on or more on a Time Twister. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and play it. That's fine. It's in power scope compared to other cards in that format, not that out of line, right? So I've had them over the years, and I hadn't actually played them until EC 9394, at which point I realized they were just a great bargain because they're beautiful on the face with black borders, and sleeved up in a black sleeve. It's very, you're not going to see much of a difference. You're not trying to hide it or change the fact. I love the pointy corners personally, but I'm trying to say, black border cards are in general, in my opinion, more beautiful and more desirable. Mm-hmm. And they're, from the same art and selection of those beta plates. So it's to me, it's the best of both worlds. It's economical and functional. So that's why I got interested in it, and that's why I got really interested in EC, is because it was very well reasoned to me that, hey, these cards were printed by Wizards of the Coast, let's play with them.
Right.
Why not?
Yeah, and I remember when I first walked into the Paladin room and I saw all these black borders everywhere, I couldn't tell. I mean, you have to look close when they're sleeved up, but it's very difficult to tell. I thought everyone was playing with beta.
Sure.
And in the room. So, I mean, for me, this is, I'm very happy I picked these up, and it's going to allow me to get back into the old school world, and maybe into the power where I do want to leverage it at a much easier re-entry point, I'll say.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a relative bargain for anyone who's thinking about trying to figure out what they want to do in old school play style. Obviously the Alpha, Beta, Unlimited are all beautiful cards that everyone desires and should want, in my opinion. I want them all too. But this is just one more thing I love in Magic. Mm-hmm.